You said yes.
Right.
Dilate your pupils.
Okay, we're going to call the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting of Tuesday, April 24th to order. We'll begin with an invocation. I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance after that. If you'll join me in standing, please. Alderman Barnhill, would you please?
Would you bow, please? Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in prayer, thanking you for this great country and this great nation that we live in, with all the freedoms that we enjoy. We know that we are truly the blessed nation in this world. We give you thanks for that. We ask that your blessings be on the soldiers who are in foreign countries who are guarding our freedoms, their families. We know it is difficult for them. We also ask that you be with the first responders and all of the police and fire that we have here in Franklin that make our community safe. We ask also, Father, be with each of us as aldermen. We know that there are many decisions that we have to make. Give us spiritual wisdom and guidance as we make those decisions. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is an opportunity for citizens to make comments on items that are not on the agenda tonight. Our usual protocol is people would present speaker cards. I don't have any speaker cards, so I assume that there are no comments. I don't see any one from the Williamson County Commission, so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from April 10th work session and April 10th Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. Is there a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Appropriate motion, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Are there any recognitions tonight? Or any miscellaneous reports?
What about Main Street Festival?
That's right. We kick off Main Street Festival. It's we expect about 140,000 of our closest friends to come visit us. And it'll kick off at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and also be Sunday event starts at noon, right? Or 11? 11. My sources tell me 11 o'clock on Sunday. So great event, one of the highlights of the year. Come on down, enjoy it. We'll have signs up directing you around parking and traffic issues as well. So we look forward to hosting lots of great folks for what looks like a beautiful weekend.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
You need it.
We'll
Mr.
take
Mayor,
full-
I'd add one thing, just we didn't get on the published agenda here, I think it was in the paper, but not here, in terms of future meetings. And we do have meetings later this week related to Planning Commission and the Joint Conceptual Workshop. We also have our Capital Investment Committee meeting this week. And then we have a special work session planned for Wednesday, May 1st at 5 o'clock. And that will be a specific work session around growth related policy, annexation related policy, as we look at some of the infrastructure needs, some of the requests and demands that are out there in terms of need and growth, and want to look at that in a more holistic way with you and just have a discussion around that for probably about an hour and a half on that Wednesday evening.
Tuesday. 5.
Tuesday evening, I'm sorry, Tuesday, May 1st at 5 o'clock.
Eric?
Election Day.
Okay, any other, go ahead.
So we
Alderman
should be
Brown.
done by 6:30, so, that day.
Mr. Stuckey, I just have a question on that. Will there be an agenda given to us about that?
It is a one-item agenda, presentation regarding growth and development policy issues. We'll have an extensive presentation that you'll receive before the
Before?
meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, you don't have it yet, you'll have it by the end of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're ready to move on to the consent agenda, and all items on the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial in routine nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or by staff by one motion of the governing body. Tonight, we're considering items number 18 through 28. Alderman Bransford.
I would approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 25, to remove that so we can get a little further explanation and clarification. Otherwise, I approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Speedy. has seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Ready for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll now move on to item 3, which is consideration of ordinance 2016-25, an ordinance to amend the City of Franklin Municipal Code to create a new Title 25 Parks and to add a new Chapter 4 to establish requirements for parkland impact fees, parkland dedication, and amend Appendix A, comprehensive fees and penalties, add a new Chapter 25 Parks to establish fees for parkland impact fees and parkland dedication. I'd ask that this be deferred until the next meeting, which is May the 8th. And then this doesn't actually slow the process on it because it requires 2 readings, and it could go simultaneously with number 4.
Move for, what did you say,
Deferral.
May 8th? Referral? I mean,
Deferral.
Referral. It's late. Deferral for May 8th for this agenda item.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? Ready for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 4 is consideration on ordinance 2016-36 to be entitled an ordinance to amend Chapter 5 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Franklin to amend subsections 5.5.4 pertaining to the requirements for the dedication of land for parks and greenways, blueways. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Any question about that?
Wow.
Did it go with 3?
I thought we were doing.
Are you
together.
deferring it?
Are we not?
No.
No.
We have a motion to approve, and it's been seconded.
Are you
It's
on
my
item
understanding
4?
that can move forward. Number 4, yes.
I thought we wanted you to defer that to the
Yeah,
8th as well.
Do you want
Yeah.
to forward the 3 and 4 both?
We could defer it to the 8th, but with the understanding that we will still publish a public hearing on the 22nd of May, if that's okay. We could maintain the public hearing on the 22nd, do your first reading on May 8th.
So take the motion back, and the motion would be to defer item 4 to the 8th also?
Yes.
I'll do that.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody?
I think we
Okay, is there a
understand
second to Alderman Barnhill's, because I was misinformed on that one? Who seconded?
I did.
Is that okay?
Who seconded? Second.
Margie
She
can
started
have it.
tonight,
Okay,
didn't I, with the
so we're
referral,
gonna
deferral.
defer item 4 to May the 8th also. So, ready for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Sorry for the confusion. Item 5 is event permit for Derby Day Party at the park at Harlansdale Farm, sponsored by the Downtown Rotary Club.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 6, consideration long-term special event permit for the Pilgrimage Music and Cultural Festival at the park at Harlansdale Farm.
Move for approval.
Appropriate
Second.
motion, seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 7 is a resolution 2018-20 to award the 2019 on-call annual contract for pavement preservation to Jarrett Builders.
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? Ready to vote? This is good news for our neighborhoods. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 8 is consideration of a certificate of compliance renewal for wine and grocery stores for Kroger 526 located at 2020 Mallory Lane, Franklin, Tennessee.
Move for approval.
Second.
Appropriate motion by Alderman Berger, seconded by Alderman Blanton.
Too many Bs.
That's fine.
Burger Blanton.
Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye. What a Bs.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 9 is a certificate of compliance renewal for wine and grocery stores for Kroger number 568 at Whitman Road in Franklin.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Speedy. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 10 is a certificate of compliance for wine and grocery store for Kroger number 570 on Columbia Avenue.
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Was that 10 or 11?
10.
10. Number 11, I mean, all these Krogers run together. Certificate of Compliance Renewal for Wine and Grocery Store for Kroger number 576 located at Hillsborough Road.
I move for approval of that one too.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 12 is Certificate of Compliance for Wine and Grocery Store for Kroger 592 located on Murfreesboro Road.
Move for approval.
Second.
Appropriate motion, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 13, consideration resolution 2018-28 authorizing and directing the Industrial Development Board of the City of Franklin to prepay a portion of its taxable rate tax increment revenue refunding bond series 2015A.
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Request to deny sanitary sewer availability to 841 Old Charlotte Pike East.
Move for approval.
Second.
Who was the second? Alderman Peterson, good. Okay, any discussion on that? This is a motion to deny. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 15, request to deny sanitary sewer availability 4176 and 4184
Move for
Columbia
approval.
Pike. Appropriate motion by Alderman Blanton,
Second.
seconded by Alderman
Jump in
Barnhill.
there.
I like this. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 16 is an amendment to professional services agreement contract with Sullivan Engineering, Inc. for the final design of the East McEwen Phase 4 improvements in an amount not to exceed $255,500.
Move for approval.
I will second that.
Alderman Berger made the motion.
With an
Is
hallelujah to go along.
Second.
seconded by Alderman Bransford. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 17 is consideration of the mayor's appointment of Andy Shapiro to the Building and Street Standards Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Appropriate motion by the vice mayor.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Item number 25 is consideration of Amendment 5 to the Professional Services Agreement, City of Franklin Contract 2013-0001 with CDM Smith for the Franklin Wastewater Reclamation Facility in the amount of $839,350. Who was it?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for.
Want to make a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay. Appropriate motion, second. Now, I'll recognize Alderman Branson.
Just for discussion purposes, because this professional service agreement, costs for this plant, wastewater reclamation facility, I'm seeing a constantly creeping of this cost, and I just need for our public to understand why we are seeing an increase in the professional service dollars that's spent. I think we started off about $2 million several years ago. Now we're up to close to 8 million, maybe 7 point some million dollars for professional service agreement for this project. So just talk a little bit about that. I'm not here to vote against it, but I think it's for disclosure purposes, we need to make sure this is out there.
Mr. Mayor, if I could. This relates to an extremely important project in our community. It's an upgrade and expansion of the water reclamation facility or wastewater treatment plant that the city operates today. This was a critical component of the integrated water resource plan that the city put together several years ago, which was based in a 2-year planning process, very involved process with a number of stakeholders, about 19 different meetings related to that, public meetings related to that, that highlighted a number of key needs to meet the needs of our growing community, but also maintain and build on our stewardship of the environment, and particularly the Harpeth River. And really all aspects of that plan center on meeting the needs of the community, but also extensive modeling of the impact on the river. And this project in particular is an upgrade of that plant to include an increase in capacity from 12 million gallons a day to 16 million gallons a day. It also upgrades and replaces existing facilities that are at that site that are aging. They're over 20 years old and in need of upgrade and from that standpoint, but also significantly increases or improves our capability in terms of a treatment technology and capability in that way, adding additional components to the treatment process, particularly those that help address nutrient removal, elements like phosphorus that you hear talked about. We will add capacity that we do not have today to that plant and to that treatment train. So those are important elements. This is a project we've been working on for several years. A project cost estimate was put out probably 2+ years ago that was around $108 million. Makes this a very costly project, but a very important project. Has about a 30+ year time frame in terms of its impact and operations in the community. As we went out to bid for this project, we expected it to be higher than the 108. I'll tell you that for sure. We thought it would probably be in the $120 to $125 million range, given inflation that it incurred and the just how competitive the construction market is. We were surprised somewhat to see bids come in higher than that, in the $150 million range. From that standpoint, we extensively reviewed the bid responses that we received. We met with bidders and some of the subcontractors as well to gain their feedback about why pricing came in so much higher than what our expectation had been. After intensive study, we came to you with a recommendation to reject bids, but in conjunction with that bid rejection, do some additional redesign and updates of that plan to hopefully facilitate both cost savings and a more competitive environment related to a couple of the subcontracting areas, a number of them, but specifically in the area of electrical subcontracting and the HVAC subcontracting. Both of those had very limited competition. We felt that drove costs up. So we wanted to make changes that might enhance that competitive environment and hopefully drive costs down. We have come forward with a number of adjustments, changes to those bid specs. We believe or have projected that those savings from those alterations could generate somewhere between $10 and $15 million of savings compared to what we received the previous bid day. We also believe, in conjunction with that, somewhat related, that we have made it more competitive for potential subcontractors in the electrical area and in the HVAC area. So it is our hope that that will bring forward a better value to the community and to the city for this project. We know we're spending additional design money. You look at the items that are before you in this contract amendment, it is $839,000. When you look at that, approximately $470,000 of that is directly related to redesign work that needed to happen and happened in a very short time frame. The better course of about a month and a half, where we were delving into the details and redesigning components that we felt could generate savings. So doing that in a short time frame, but also doing a pretty extensive amount of work is what drove that portion of the costs. The remainder are really bid-related costs. They are costs related to the advertising of the bid, rebidding components in terms of getting documents out and available to those that might bid. We had another area that you may see on there that's called post-addenda drawings and specifications. That is a specific effort that we did that serves as a crosswalk between the previous bid and this new bid document. So it's much easier for potential bidders, especially those that may have bid before, to look at it and understand what we changed. So that is a little bit of an expense, but we think that will facilitate more effective bidding from folks who want this work and hopefully translate into a more competitive bid environment. There is one other component that relates to previous bid services. There were multiple addenda issued on the previous bid, and there were costs associated with that. So that's the task one, about $140,000 associated with that is really cleanup from the prior bid. So all of that leads us to a project that has long-term implications for the community in terms of adding treatment capacity, yes, to support our growing community, but more importantly, our capability to treat effectively now and well into the future. And our commitment that the loading we put in that river is no more than it is today, even though we're adding treatment capacity. We've looked at the needs of the community. We've looked at what we can reasonably expect from the regulatory environment, and want to have a plant that will deliver that. And so our focus is on doing it right, and felt that there was enough savings on the table that it justified spending these additional dollars to do additional design work and to support an additional bid process. So that's the thinking that has gone into bringing us to this point. This is something we've talked about very openly in terms of the need to reject bids and that the redesign would follow, and then brought the specific proposal through in terms of these additional services, and have spoken to that publicly a couple times now here too. So glad to answer any other questions you have. I'm glad for the opportunity to take the time. This is a big deal. This is the largest single capital project the City of Franklin has ever undertaken, and we want to make sure that we are looking at all the opportunities to make it be a highly effective, highly efficient operation that serves the community well for many years to come.
Alderman Speedy.
Maybe two questions I want to follow up with. In light of we anticipate it being an increased cost, are we hoping to be able to go back to the state revolving fund to get additional funds at that same revolving rate? And then two, do we know if it comes in at, let's say, $135 million, what this might do to the rate structure, I guess, based on the projections you guys have made in the past?
Yeah, a couple things there, great questions. In terms of state revolving loan fund, we absolutely anticipate going back and seeing if we can add on. We have a $100 million loan that has been secured, and because of the lower interest rate that's provided in that loan, we are saving well over $30 million compared to if we'd gone with a traditional revenue bond structure. And so we basically compared what we saw when we issued water revenue bonds compared to what we were able to get through the state revolving loan fund. So that is well worth our while to go and pursue that. We've already got the framework set up to work through the state revolving loan fund program, so we will definitely pursue additional capacity through that source. The other piece in terms of how it might affect rates, in some ways remains to be seen when we fully get that number back, but I will tell you, we looked and used very conservative estimates when we structured our rates, and as you know, we've done 5-year rate plans. We're in the 4th year of our second 5-year rate plan, so over the last 9 years, we've structured our rates building in such a way to support the debt needed for a facility like this. Like I said, we were pretty conservative in those estimates. It will depend somewhat on what the exact numbers are that we get, but we will put that into our cost of service study that we've contracted for, and that we'll update and incorporate what this bid process generates. Yeah, I don't want to prejudge that, but we've built a good amount of capacity in there that I am hopeful. I'm optimistic that it will be able to be well supported with the existing rate structure. Obviously, we'll continue to have regular adjustments, but we are hopeful that those are more in the line of inflationary type adjustments as opposed to larger adjustments. And we've adopted an approach where we do regular, smaller increases on pretty much an annual basis, as opposed to doing larger step increases over a couple years or 2 or 3 years. So we think that's a better way to look at it. It allows us to adjust to changes. The last time we did rates, we were actually able to reduce them from what the rate plan showed. So we think there's capacity built in that can help us manage what comes out of the bid process. But it fully remains to be seen. We'll run those numbers and let you know, but we do believe we build in a good bit of conservative capacity in the model.
I would ask if you might also explain all the committees and votes that have occurred up to this point with this being placed on the consent agenda. This was not something that we just put on the consent agenda because it was an easy place to put it. It's because it's followed our normal routine and procedures, and the fact that we have followed all the committees and all the votes to get to this point. And the reason it's coming off consent agenda is for clarification for the public. But there's, if you could kind of clarify that, Mr. Stuckey.
Sure. As I said, it all started back a couple months ago when we rejected bids. We clearly went through that and described why that was our recommendation at that time. And we did anticipate redesign and additional work associated with that. So that was part of that, and that had multiple public discussions. This item also came through both at our work session and at this meeting. I believe it was at a committee, but I'm not entirely sure what date that was, but it does come through those, and I make a judgment call based on our discussion at work session, whether I think it's controversial or not. So I apologize if I made didn't put that there, but there doesn't seem to be a concern with that, but I'm glad to always explain any item that's on there. But yes, this is on the work session 2 weeks ago, on this meeting, all published and all part of our public discourse that we go through with any of the items that come through to the board. So this has been heard and discussed multiple times, and we're glad to discuss it again tonight.
Thank you very much for explaining that for our public.
Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Do we have a executive session tonight?
No.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Appropriate motion.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Barnhill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.